the enemy from within. And of course, we know who he's talking about. He's talking about his political opponents, and he's talking about the news media. I mean, he recently was said, and this is his words, these are his words, that he wouldn't mind if reporters got shot. I mean, this is a person who once served as president of the United States, wants to be president again. The notion that he would find it okay to use that sort of violent ideation, that violent language, ought to frighten anybody. People who may even agree with some, to the extent you can figure out what they are, of his policy positions, can't possibly believe that a person with that temperament, that demeanor, that level of anger and venom should ever be anywhere near the Oval Office. So he's there to spew hate. He's there to exact retribution. He's not there to execute an agenda. In fact, the one thing you won't hear from him, you'll hear this anger and venom. You'll never hear a plan for the people of our community, for the people of our state, for the people of this country. Maybe a concept of a plan, but he won't talk about his agenda because he knows that his agenda is not acceptable to the American people. His Project 2025 agenda, he can deny it all he wants. It is his blueprint written by his people for what he would do in this country. But his primary agenda, of course, is just to exact revenge. And of course, with Kamala Harris, what do you have? You've got a person who brings optimism, hope, joy to the campaign trail, who has an agenda to continue to protect individual rights, to protect democracy, but most importantly, to continue the progress that we have made in rebuilding America's economy, rebuilding our industrial base. The mayor and I don't know how many of these events we've had where we've been able to announce new jobs coming here for the first time in a long, long time. And it's because of the Biden-Harris agenda. What Kamala Harris wants to do is to continue that work. And she will bring everybody together. She's made a commitment. She would appoint a Republican to her cabinet, that anybody, even people who disagree with her, will have a seat at the table. Their voices will be heard. She won't exact retribution against her opposition the way Donald Trump will, or threaten them the way Donald Trump will. Our conversation to the political debate, and maybe incorporate those thoughts into the policies that we can all embrace going forward. There's a huge difference between what a Kamala Harris presidency will mean. Hope, optimism, rolling up our sleeves, and getting the work of the American people done, versus what a Donald Trump presidency will look like. Anger, venom, a dark dystopian view of what America should be. We don't want to go back. We can't go back. And I think the American people are going to be with us. JD Vance is bringing that angry, dark message to Flint. And what we say to JD Vance is take that somewhere else, because it's not going to sell here. Person who knows this community better than anybody else is the person I want to bring up now to make comments on this, and that's our Mayor, Sheldon Neely.
Thank you, Congressman Kildee, and thank you for being here today to be able to speak to this very important issue as we stand in another day on the eve of a very important election in our country. Our world will change after this election, but definitely I want the citizens of the city of Flint to remain watchful and prayerful. Today, as a visit comes from JD Vance in here in the city of Flint to bring a message of divide and how they're going to deconstruct democracy in America, we have to be prayerful and watchful that this doesn't happen. You know, the city of Flint takes this personally. As mayor of this great community, one thing I can tell you is that the Biden-Harris administration, Kamala Harris, vice president, saved this community through the American Rescue Plan dollars and the high-minded legislative dollars that came here to be able to rescue our community, rescue each and every one of us, the middle-class families, the unions here in this town. You know, we are very thankful and we benefited from that, and our community is prospering. As Congressman Kildee said, you know, we are rising with the level of hope and strength and pride. And we are looking for a president that reflects that in the White House. We need a strong, determined leader in the White House. That leader is Vice President Kamala Harris, soon to be President Harris, if we focus in on what's important. As we look at the future and we look at what our children are going to be looking at as a respected leader in a respected nation and around the world as a global leader, we need someone that's going to be there, that's going to unite us as the United States, and also to be a strong leader globally. Kamala Harris represents that for America. And I'm asking every individual out there that's on the eve of this very important day, we have one day and a wake up, in order to be able to engage this process with an open mind, looking at really who we are as American citizens, the land of the brave and the home of the free. We need a leader that's going to represent that, not someone that's going to deconstruct democracy with hate and vile imagery that he possesses in his dialogue. That is the other side of this. And so today is a very important day as we get ready to prepare for a very important election. This is the election of our lifetime. And so what we need to do is focus in, buckle in, get to the polls and vote. But definitely we have to vote for our future. And that leader that we need, that imagery that we need, that strong, determined focus with a plan, we need that. And we thank them here from the city of Flint for being so caring and so uniting in their messaging. And so Kamala Harris is that for us. The other side has not been that at all. And so we need you all to focus in on what is positive for our future, what is positive for us as a community, as a state, and as an America. And that leader is Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris for president. Now with that, on the other side, to the left of me coming up is President of City Council. And we talk about women's rights and the rights of women all throughout our country. And as leaders, women play a very important role in society. They're the load-bearing force in our society. And to give a perspective on that from a political perspective and also from a woman's perspective, I invite up President Liddell Lewis.
Thank you. Good morning. So, growing up, I was always told that scary movies aren't real. That the villains, Freddy Krueger, Jason, that they're not real. But one thing that is real is Donald Trump. And we do not want to put a real life scary movie in the White House. Someone that has an agenda that is not in favor of all American people. Someone whose job is to inflict horror on the country. We don't need that. JD Vance is going to try to fool our people into forgetting how dangerous Donald Trump really is. But in Michigan, we remember, and we shall not go back. Donald Trump spent 4 years trying to divide our country. He has amplified white supremacists. He lied through his teeth every single day. And now we are in the final days of his campaign, and he's laying out a frightening vision for our country. Just as the congressman said, he has a revenge list and not a to-do list. We need a president. We need leadership in that office with a forward-thinking vision, one with a mentality for progress, not one with retribution and hate in mind. He is more angry and unstable than he has ever been. And now there will be no guardrails around him in the White House. His advisors are all yes men. And one thing that we cannot have yes men, because it takes of ideas to run this country successfully. Just like the congressman said behind me, Kamala, she's willing to work with Republicans so we can have a diverse array of ideas. Because all ideas are needed in order to hear from all people. That's what it's about. It's not about having people to do exactly as you say when you say do it. As the president of Flint City Council, I know firsthand, unity is important. And without unity, you have stagnation. And with stagnation, that means no progress. And the will of the people cannot be done. Millions of dollars of jobs will not come to this state, to this city. Investment will not come to this state, to this city, or even to this country. We need to make sure that America, and even more specifically, Michigan, the city of Flint, that we are positioning ourselves behind a leader that is behind a progressive agenda for this illustrious state. We have over 10 million people here, and 10 million people can agree that we want a brighter future for our loved ones, for our youth. Kamala has that. She has that plan on her to-do list. You know, we talk about raising our children up. I have a 10-year-old. Raising them up with values, raising them up with integrity and standards. According to the Bible, many say turn the other cheek. We want our children to have love in their heart. We can't raise our children up falling behind a leader that goes against everything that we believe in. If we believe in love, if we believe in unity, if we believe in compassion, we need to stand with the leader that believes in that also. And that's why we believe that Kamala is the person, is the leader for this time. Hate has no place in America, hate has no place in Michigan, and hate definitely has no place in Flint. And we hope that Mr. Vance understands that and that he take his message of hate somewhere else, because in Flint we believe in unity, because we are all better together. So instead of sharpening an enemy's list like Donald Trump, Vice President Harris is outlining her to-do list again for the American people. So I would like to implore every single voter that has not voted, consider voting on the side of change, unity, together, progress. Consider voting for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Thanks to both the mayor and the council president for those great words. Be happy to open up for any questions.
I think all folks. Does everyone have questions?
Actually, the vice president had an abbreviated campaign for obvious reasons. Is there any message that she has not had a time to make that you think would be important for people in Michigan to know about her campaign and what her presidency would be?
No, actually, I mean, I think the last couple of months, she's been able to present her vision for this country. And that doesn't take, months and months to do, especially when compared to what we already know about Donald Trump. And I'll take that one step further. With both of these candidates, we no longer have to guess what their agenda will be. What Kamala Harris brings is a continuation of some of the progress that we've talked about. With Donald Trump, there was no American Rescue Plan that gave the city the opportunity to invest in its people. With Donald Trump, there was no CHIPS and Science Act that is investing in our future and is meaning jobs right here in Flint, Michigan. Under Donald Trump, we lost manufacturing jobs. We lost jobs right here. Under Biden-Harris, we have gained manufacturing jobs in this region, and we are seeing investment in the city of Flint, which is a really important statement. This is a community that's been through a lot, and it's on a positive path now because we've had local leadership, federal leadership working together to make that happen. So I don't think there's been a message lost. And last point I'll make, and then if the others want to say something, there is not a single American that's going to participate in this election that doesn't understand what these two visions of America look like. A positive, hopeful, optimistic agenda that Kamala Harris obviously displays. And look at Donald Trump's closing argument. Donald Trump's closing argument tells you to hate one another, to detest one another, to attack the news media, the people who are responsible for providing information and providing daylight, sunlight in our society. There's not much doubt about the difference between these two, and I think this campaign, as abbreviated as it may have been, has had plenty of opportunity to make that clear. I don't know if you have any comments on that.
Well, one thing about it is that, Donald Trump talks about a divide. And one of the things I like to say is that if you understand who benefits from a divide, you understand your true enemy. He promotes divide. Vice President Harris promotes unity. We're the United States of America. We have to be true to our name and true to our country. We are a country of many different races, nationalities, people, genders, economic class, but we're all one United States of America. We have to bring people together. Donald Trump does not do that. He has not spoken to that. He speaks to a deconstruction of our democracy. And so we have to step away from that. And every great American citizen will understand that. And so I believe that the messaging that Vice President Harris has talked about that united America. And that's what we need in this country, in this city, in this state, in this county, and on this globe.
As a borderline millennial, I understand that millennials, they have different values. A lot of millennials, they are looking towards entrepreneurship. And so one thing about Vice President Harris, she has the vision for entrepreneurship. And so inputting more money into businesses. So she's talking about going from $5,000 tax breaks to $50,000. And that's a huge difference, and that'll make a huge difference as our millennials seek a different way. My parents, they grew up working in the factory, and that was a great living, provided a great way of life for us. But the millennials, they have a different path. And so she acknowledges that, and she has made provision. And so I want to make sure that that's not lost as we invite and encourage our young people to go to the polls and vote, that you have a vice president seeking the presidential office with you in mind, setting aside money so you can fulfill your vision. So when millennials think that this election doesn't have anything to do with me, it has everything to do with you. So that's why we need for each and every person to encourage an entrepreneur, a young person, encourage them to get out and vote for Kamala Harris, because she is a vice president, soon to be president, hopefully, with you in mind. But she can't get to the White House without your vote.